Carmen didn't want any hot chocolate or anything today, so it is what it is. Okay, so full disclosure, this is the... How many times? Third time that we are attempting to record this. What do you think's going on? What we just talking about?
It's the devil.
It is. Woo! Okay, this time it's gonna work.
This time it is gonna work.
And we're gonna get through it. And it is gonna be a little bit more condensed because it is 7:31. And this was supposed to be done a long time ago. And Carmen wasn't feeling the best, so she slept all afternoon. So I apologize for it being too late.
I do apologize for it being too late, even though it was the best 3 hours of my life.
Because she slept for 3 hours. Anywho, we're gonna dive in, but we are not diving into
the verses.
We're not diving into Ruth.
We're not diving into Ruth.
You would think by the third time we would get this. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands either. I'm like, okay. So, I want to talk about the pre-story. I kind of want to explain why Ruth is such, I don't know, her coming to Elimelech's family and being around the Israelites, why that was such a big deal. So instead of reading every verse, I'm just going to kind of talk about it. And since y'all have the option to pause and rewind and play, unlike this morning, we're just going to tell the verses and then I'll kind of explain a little bit about it and you can read it on your own time. So first of all, we're going to go to Moab and then backtrack a little bit so I can explain how Moab came to be. So
Genesis 13:8.
So in Genesis 13:8 it says, "Let's not allow this conflict to come between our horsemen. After all, we are close relatives." So that's Lot and Abraham. And who is Abraham?
Abraham is...
Lot's.
I thought Lot was Abraham. It's Abram. Abram's uncle. But is it the other way?
Abram is Lot's uncle.
Abram's Lot.
Okay. So basically, both of these men are very successful. And their herdsmen are getting into it. I think it's probably like, hey, that's my sheep. And they're like,
no, that's my sheep. What you talking about?
And I'm like, no, that's my sheep. We're going to buy over here. So I just, that's what
we're going to buy over here.
That's what I envision going on. So instead of these people going at it, they're going to separate so they can both be successful in their own ways. Move down to Genesis 13. Abraham settled in Canaan, and Lot moved his tents near Sodom and settled in the city's plain. But the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against God. So, Sodom and Gomorrah, not a good place. What does Lot decide to do?
Go to the bad places.
There we go. So, go to the bad places. Okay.
L.
With an L?
I said places.
Paces?
Places.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So, God got wind that Sodom and Gomorrah was not where it's at. That people were doing the bad things, sinning against him, worshiping other gods, just bad influences. So, because Abraham knew that Lot was there, when God told Abraham that he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, Abraham was like, whoa. Why are you going to blanket punish everybody? Mm-hmm. Because what if
some people did good and some people did bad? Right.
So why punish the good people for the bad? And Carmen and I have talked about this. You said with volleyball, blanket punishments happen. I remember being in class and like somebody was talking and everybody got in trouble for it. So that's kind of the thing. Abraham's like, wait. Why are you punishing the righteous people for the people who are not righteous? So Abraham goes back and forth with God, kind of bargaining. If there's 50 people, will you save them?
There's 45 people. Will you save them?
If there's 40 people, will you save them?
If there's 35 people, will you save them?
It actually jumped to 30, but y'all get the point. So it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and Lot was saved. So in Genesis 19:19, Lot says, "You have been so gracious to me," Lot's talking to God, "and saved my life, and you have shown such great kindness, but I can't go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there, and I would soon die." So what's Lot saying?
That he can't do all this, he can't handle all this stuff, and he's done with it.
So God was like, "I need you to do this." Lot's like, "I'm good, thanks." Has that ever happened to you? You feel like God is pushing you in this direction?
And you're like...
Yes, absolutely. Because this seems to be way easier than the past. Right.
And this is the easy road, you're taking the rocky road.
Exactly. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, Lot was afraid. He and his daughters escaped into this cave, and Lot's daughters realized that their legacy, their livelihood, they could not preserve their family line because it was just the three of them. So the two daughters got together and decided that they were going to get their father drunk and sleep with him so they then could be impregnated and have children so their livelihood could live on. One of the children of the son of the oldest daughter's name was
Moab.
Moab
was where Ruth was from.
Right. So what this is telling us is that Moab was a result of Lot not following directions and distancing himself. Now, how did the Israelites feel about the Moabites?
Oh, they did not like each other.
They did not.
They had serious beef.
Serious beef between the Israelites and the Moabites. In Numbers 25, it says that some of the people Israelites were camped at Arcadia Grove. Some of the men defiled themselves by having sex with Moabite women. Moabite women invited them, meaning the Israelites, to attend sacrifices to other gods so that the Israelites feasted with them and worshiped the gods of Moab. This caused the Lord to be mad. Infuriated. Big mad. Bottom line is what?
Israelites do not like Moabites.
Ding, ding, ding. So now that we
chicken dinner.
So now that we understand that, we can dive into Ruth. The first section that I'm going to talk about is Ruth chapter 1, obviously, 1 through 5. So in reading that, you're introduced to the characters and the setting. So I'm going to tell you the characters' names, and Carmen is going to tell you what they mean. This is something that I would write down and go back to, definitely, because once we go a little bit further, you're going to be like, oh, that's why that mattered. So Elimelech is the dad, the husband, the leader, the provider, and
it means God is king.
Naomi is the wife, the mother.
And it means pleasant.
Mahlon is one of the sons.
And his name means song.
Kilion is the other son.
And his name means complete.
And then Ruth, we get introduced to.
And her name means compassionate friend.
Right. And they are all, Elimelech, Naomi, Mahlon, and Kilion are all from Bethlehem, which means what?
The house of bread.
Okay, so in John 6:35, it says, this is God speaking, "I am the bread of life. Whomever comes to me will never be hungry again." So basically that's saying, I will give you what you need. Come to me and you will be fulfilled. So what does that mean if you don't go to God?
Then you won't be, what you want and what you have a need for will not be given to you.
Right, and you'll crave it, want it so bad, but nothing can satisfy that craving except God. Okay, so what this is, the visualization this is showing is Elimelech and his family moved from Bethlehem and Elimelech died. So this represents, instead of trusting God, they ceased to keep God as king of their lives. Then the two sons died. Then the two sons married Moabite women, which, those are not the best people. And then the sons died. So God was no longer king in Naomi's life. Her song and her sense of completion were depleted. In thinking about this, when things get hard, like there was a famine, instead of staying there and trusting in God, they left. In your life, when things get hard, do you try to run to something that's better on like a knee-jerk decision, like, oh, the grass is greener, let's go over there? I know that I do that. It's hard, but it's almost like it's our human nature to, okay, this is too difficult, I'm out. But God is telling us to fight through those urges. Another thing that we talked about this morning that I think was a very good point was, what is your Moab? What is the grass on the other side that's greener? What is something that you run to instead of dealing with the here and now? Do you have an example?
I don't think I do now.
What did you say earlier?
Yours is your phone.
No, you said phone earlier.
Yeah, but that's yours. Like the TV or go to the store and shopping.
Yeah, so anything that kind of distracts us away from what we're doing. It's like we intentionally distract ourselves. Okay, so the next section is verses 6 through 13. Naomi didn't feel like she was good enough. She didn't feel like she had anything to offer. And because she felt so bad about herself, she isolated and pushed everything else away. How many times have you felt worthless or empty? I know in certain situations that I've been in my life, I absolutely have felt worthless. And like I'm not good enough and I'm never going to be good enough. And why do I not have anybody in my corner, kind of? What if before God puts you on the path that you need to be on, He focuses on removing you from the path that you want to be on? What if you're fighting for the wrong path? I think that's big. Because, I know that we've talked about before, there's something that we want so bad. We will do anything, give up everything, try our hardest to get there. What if all that was for nothing because God wanted us to be here? So if we are too hard-headed, not that we would ever
we could never be hard-headed. No.
What if we're too hard-headed to realize that God's trying to inch us this way, but we're fighting so hard to go down this path, God's just going to take it away. So we are forced to choose His path. And another thing that I want to kind of hit on this is when bad things happen, we tend to focus on them, right? We tend to focus on the bad things. There could still be 52,000 good things around us, but that one bad thing brings us down. Have you pushed away support because of your pain? When you get all pissy, what's the first thing that you do?
I take it out on other people.
Absolutely. And you push away. You don't want anything to do with anybody. You want to deal with this. Go away. Be by yourself. Whatever, right? Okay. All right, continuing to 14 through 18. Ruth stood strong in her purpose. She didn't let Orpah's actions or Naomi's words distract her from what she felt she was led to do. Was Ruth's God already working in her? Can you imagine how Ruth felt? Going into a land where her people were not thought highly of, who worshipped a God that she didn't even know. So, back in Moab, who did Ruth worship? Other gods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, idol gods. Ruth made her way with Naomi, and it looks as though this God that she's going to be closer to, she's already listening to what he's telling her. Ruth stood firm and was bold. She made a decision. She didn't care what anybody said. She didn't care what anybody did. She made her mind up and she was sticking to it. I think a lot of times women especially get negative vibes for standing up and for being bold and for making decisions and being firm. You know, you get called other words for doing that. But this is exactly what Ruth was called to do, to stand firm in her belief, be bold, and be that person for Naomi. She didn't care where Naomi went. She was going. She didn't care who Naomi was around. She was going. She didn't care what God Naomi worshipped. She was worshiping. Everything that she had was focused on Naomi, to support Naomi and to go with Naomi. Don't cancel out other people's blessings for you. Accept the help, accept the praise, accept the compliments, and accept the presence. I know sometimes, like, if Carmen is down and out, I know that saying stuff isn't gonna help. I know that, you know, hugging her is just gonna make her push away. But just being present and letting her know, hey, look, I know you're having a bad day. I know you're in a bad mood, but I'm here if you need something. I think that goes a long way. And though she may get frustrated or though she may be aggravated, I think deep down it makes you feel good to know that I've got your back. And that's kind of the thing that was going on between Naomi and Ruth. But don't cancel out other people trying to be there for you. A lot of times we dismiss people saying, oh, good luck with that, or oh, I hope you do well. Take it. Accept the compliments. Accept the praise. God could be using them to make sure that you feel that. Like, there's sometimes I suffer with, like, low self-esteem. My husband tells me, you know, gives me a compliment. I'm like, okay, whatever, Brad. How do I not know that God sees my pain and is using my husband to help lift up that self-esteem? Don't cancel it out. All right. Lastly, verses 19 through 22. People were excited to see Naomi return, and doesn't it feel good when people like to feel wanted? Mm-hmm. Like, I want you to help me with this. I want you to be successful in volleyball. I want you to make good grades. If I didn't care about any of that, I think that your study habits would be a lot easier. But it would hurt your feelings for me not to care. Right? It wouldn't hurt your feelings?
Depending on what it is.
If I didn't care about anything.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so that is the point that I'm making. If I didn't care if you were fed, I didn't care if you were warm, I didn't care if you did good in school. Isn't it much better to have someone who's like, I'm here for you, I'm glad you're... Okay, that was the point. Okay. Woo! Third recording. We're tired.
Squirrel.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. Again, I wanna hit this because this is so big for me. What if before God puts you on the path that you need to be on, he forces you, or he focuses on removing you from the path that you want to be on? What if you were fighting the wrong path? Don't forget that. When you are fighting for something and fighting for something and fighting for something, step back and make sure that you're fighting for the right thing. Because if you're putting all this effort into something and it's not working out, maybe it's not working out for a reason. Because maybe that's not what God wants you to do. Okay. This is a quote that was sent to me from Brad a couple weeks ago. And I was like, this is Ruth and Naomi.
Ruth and Naomi.
Exactly. So listen to this quote and be ready to have your socks knocked off. Socks knocked off. Ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Sometimes God delivers you from the fire furnace, and other times He makes you fireproof and lets everything else keep burning because He knows that you are going to learn something out of this pain. Pain is not authorized to destroy you. It is authorized to make you. God is more concerned with our development than He is our comfort. I'm going to read it one more time. Sometimes God delivers you from the fire furnace, and other times He makes you fireproof and lets everything else keep burning because He knows that you are going to learn something out of the pain. Pain is not authorized to destroy you. It is authorized to make you. God is more concerned with our development than He is our comfort. Sometimes things are going to suck. It's going to be uncomfortable, and you're not going to know what to do. But God's going to be there with you. God's going to walk you down the path, and you are going to be okay. And if everything in your world is falling apart, keep walking. Because maybe everything around you is not where God wants you to be. Okay, 5 key points from today's lesson.
Choose your circle wisely.
Which means the people that are around you.
Mm-hmm.
Because what do they need to do?
Have a good impact on you.
Right? And lift you up, help you, be honest with you, even if it's bad, but support you.
Don't run away from uncomfortable situations. Listen for God's guidance.
Absolutely. Just like the fire furnace. Maybe you're uncomfortable because that's what God needs you to be in order to see what He needs you to see.
Be bold.
Absolutely. Ruth made her mind up, and she didn't care what anybody said or what anybody did. She was going to do what she was led to do. Be bold.
Don't cancel out other people's blessings.
Absolutely. You never know who God is trying to work through to get to you.
Be fireproof.
Absolutely. Be fireproof. Guys, next Saturday, we're going to be meeting at
Bella Latte
in Drayton, which is in Spartanburg. I hope to see you there. I hope that this wasn't too long. And do you know what I really, really, really hope?
That it recorded.
That it recorded. So, for Coffee with Jesus, I'm Michelle.
I'm Carmen, and we'll see you next time. Doses!